Hello, my name is James Whelan, Managing Director of Barclay Pearce Capital's Wealth Management Team. For this Investor Showcase presenting Impact Minerals, stock code APT listed on the ASX, I am joined by Dr. Mike Jones, CEO of Impact Minerals, who's going to run us through. First off, thanks very much for joining us, Mike. What brings you out to Sydney on this sunny day?
That's great. Yeah, beautiful day in Sydney today, and great to be here. So I did a big presentation yesterday, about 100 investors in the room, so quite a lot of interest in what we're doing. And we're on the roadshow today, 4 or 5 meetings, so we'll see what comes of that.
It's a long haul. I do like spending time with you, so it's not too bad at all. It's often good when you have someone that you don't mind hanging around with. Now, let's just take a step back. Impact Minerals, what do you do, and what's the importance of highly purified alumina?
HPA, there you go.
High Purity Alumina.
That's all right. No, we're all good.
Yeah.
So look, Impact Minerals is developing its HPA project, which is called the Lake Hope Project. It's located about 500 kilometres east of Perth, and it is a unique deposit globally. It contains clays in the top 2 metres of a lake that contain an incredible value of this high purity alumina, and we're looking to develop that project and get it into production over the next 18 months to 2 years. So it's a fantastic project and a great stage of development.
And HPA is a critical mineral as well on the list, used in LEDs mostly and batteries.
That's correct.
Like that, so
it's on the critical minerals list for Australia, Europe, and the US, and it's not widely known, but a crucial part of the energy transition that we're going through. And as you mentioned, LEDs and batteries are the two main markets.
Okay, so that's we've already anyone who knows the company knows the story. That's great. Now, specifically, an announcement came out just recently talking about the pre-feasibility study. Do you want to just go into some of the details with that?
Yeah, I've always wanted to build a mine, and you've got to be careful what you wish for, because it's actually like a large jigsaw puzzle trying to put together all the pieces. There's 4 main pieces that we're looking at. So one is what's happening on the mine and how we're going to develop that. Second one is actually the processing plant, where we're going to take the material to and how we're going to process it. Parallel to that is test work, where we're trying to optimize the process that we're going to build the plant around. And fourthly, and probably most importantly in the long run, is developing relationships with potential offtake partners. So yesterday's announcement was really just putting all those big pieces together and telling everyone where we're at with that. It's a lot of balls in the air, and they're going to come down between now and the end of the year.
And you're on track to the end of the year. So the pre-feasibility study, when should that be completed by?
Yeah, we're going to be done towards the end of the year, as we've said it all the way along, and everything is going according to plan so far, which is great. And the critical thing about finishing the PFS and assuming that it's going to be positive is that we will at that point earn an 80% interest in the project. It is a joint venture, and we have the option to get to that 80%, not just of the project, but also all of the intellectual property that goes with it by completing that PFS.
Yep. And so relations with I've never been able to get it right. The Ngaju?
The Ngaju peoples, yeah.
That's going well?
It is, indeed. They are the traditional owners of the country on which the mine will be built, and they're generally very positive in terms of encouraging industry to come into the area, and they have quite a set procedure involved in being able to negotiate what is going to be a land access agreement, which is really all about us being permitted and doing an agreement with them to mine on their land, and then also cultural heritage management plan, which will come with the long-term custodianship of the ground and the environmental rehabilitation, etc. And they're it's all the discussion has been very positive. We have a negotiation protocol in place, or coming in place at the moment, and I think post the PFS we'll enter serious negotiations with them to get through towards helping the mining lease get granted.
Yeah. So the PFS will tell you exactly what it is that you've got that needs to happen.
Yep.
And then you'll be able to have better conversations.
That's exactly.
About what can go on. Yeah. Which shouldn't be too bad. We've just gone through the process, and it's they're good people, which is and it's actually the environmental damage at Lake Hope is actually quite minimal. It's just it scrapes the clay off and.
It's basically a small quarry, and we're going to leave a hole that's only 1 to 2 meters deep over a relatively small proportion of the lake, and there's no on-site beneficiation required. So there's no crushing, grinding, there's no infrastructure, permanent infrastructure. It'll be temporary accommodation, probably mine for 8 months of the year in year 1, stockpile 3 years of material, and then send the miners home and then just truck it off-site for 3 years.
Now, let's talk about off-site and where it's going to be processed. You've chosen Kwinana. I've been to Kwinana.
You have, yeah.
It's a beautiful part of the world.
Kwinana is a very popular place, and it's obviously the key industrial area of Perth. And we have found during the PFS some remarkable synergies of being in Kwinana as opposed to, say, Kalgoorlie or Esperance, which were other options for us to truck the material to.
Yep.
The biggest one is actually access to the reagents that we need, and just as importantly, places to get the byproducts to. And remarkably, we've found people who can deliver the reagents that we need right to the door, to the gate, and we've got willing buyers lined up to take our byproduct fertiliser and acid products.
Now, I want to talk about the byproducts if we can. So the fertiliser has come up here now. Only recently, in recent memory, we had a fertiliser shortage due to the gas problem and Europe. So fertiliser is a hot commodity, obviously used in a global food shortage, which we've had recently as well. Is this a big deal, the fertiliser thing? I don't know. He says. Sort of
That's right. Look,
no.
it's an important credit to the overall low operating costs that we've got. But the material that we produce is of high quality, and we think it'll demand a premium. We're not going to be in the fertiliser business. We'll look for an offtake for someone to distribute that and do what they wish with it. So we are looking at some of the other lakes in the region because the minerals that we have are very pure for the alumina within our lake. The mineral does occur in other lakes in the area, but there's other rubbish in there as well. But it actually makes them quite suitable for fertiliser. So we are looking at that as a possible second stream.
All right. Well, I think that's covered everything that I've got from the announcement just recently. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
Look, we are obviously talking to customers. We do get a lot of questions about how that is going. What I will say is that Alpha HPA, code A4N, who've been incredibly successful in the space, $1 billion market cap, and we're hoping to walk in their footsteps to that lofty level.
Yes.
And they've recently announced funding to get to a benchmark 10,000 tonnes per annum production, which is what we're aiming for as well. They received considerable Australian federal government support for that because it is a critical mineral and they're looking at downstream processing. But they've clearly indicated demand exists there for probably 30,000 tonnes per annum of HPA.
Wow.
So I'm fairly confident that as we build this project, the customers will come.
Yep.
So it's a great stage to be at.
And still on track to be low cost.
Indeed.
We'll get into that at a different time, which is great. Thank you for joining us, Mike Jones of Impact Minerals, for this investor showcase presenting that. Impact Minerals, IPT stock code on the ASX, on track to be the lowest cost producer of HPA in the world. Thank you very much. My name is James Whelan, Managing Director of Barclay Pearce Capital's Wealth Management Team. Thanks for joining us.